we have the inner chart's your birth chart. Now on the outer chart, and this one is the progressed moon. And that's all I care about. All that other stuff I don't care about. And the outer one is transit Saturn. That's all I care about. Okay? So I want to see where they are at the time of my heart attack. Okay? So let's look at this and let's see what happens with all this. Transits, my progressed moon, oh, and the new moons. Remember the new moons, right? Shadow of things to come. The nice thing with this program is I can go backward and forward to any new moon from the point of my birth. I can just hit a little button. I can go back to full moons if I wanted to. I can go to any phase of the moon I wanted. First quarter, last quarter, first, new. And I can go forward or back. That's what's great with this program. So in this case, I put the new moon in there because I moved it backwards. It's the new moon that had preceded the event. Always remember that. In other words, if you're looking at what's going on in your life right now, where's the last new moon? You go back to the last one. Not the one that's coming up, but the one that occurred before. Because that's what is the shadow of things to come. All right? So, this is what happened on my mind. Transit Saturn was at 20 Virgo. Guess what it was doing? Setting up a grand cross in my chart. Transit Saturn's the outer wheel. Okay? Okay, and it's setting at 20 degrees Virgo, which is sitting on my grand cross. It's squaring my ascendant, my Venus here, my moon over here, and it's opposing Jupiter down here. Right here, which is a cosmic cross. I was born under a cosmic cross. And that was being triggered by transit Saturn. Look where the new moon was, 5 degrees Sag. Look where my sun is, 5 degrees Sag. Look where Mars is, 5 degrees Pisces. That's exact square. This is the new moon. This is transit Saturn. Okay? And Saturn itself on the transit chart out here, we look to find out where Saturn is in here, and it's how come I got this like this?
Brad, so it's the progressed moon in the...
Oh, progressed moon in 15 Capricorn, right? And transit Saturn was on the cross. That's what I was pointing out. This is on my Mars square. You see it? And this is at 15 Capricorn. So let me show you what that is. A birth chart. In the inner circle, you find I have grand cross with Neptune and Virgo, opposing Jupiter and Pisces, squaring Venus and Sag and the Moon and Gemini. So my cross is triggered. The cross is a symbol of what? Suffering. All right. I was also born with Mars, Pisces square my Sun, Mercury conjunction in Sagittarius. At the time of event, we need to have 3 major indicators affecting my natal chart. So let's. What happened here? I can't read the rest of it. Anyway, so let's move on. My progressed moon is at 15 Capricorn, as shown in the middle ring. Not triggered in any major aspect, though it's at the exact midpoint of Mars and the Sun, Mercury. The new moon, prior to the event, is sitting exactly on top of my Sun, Mercury, in the 12th, squaring my natal Mars in Pisces, in the 2nd house. And Mars is squaring my Sun literally. It can be interpreted as a heart attack. Sun, Mars. Sun rules your heart, and attack is Mars. And Pisces puts you in a hospital. Okay? Mars is in Pisces, and I ended up in the hospital for several weeks. So Sun in the 12th is hospital. My Sun's in the hospital, in the 12th house as well. So that was all being triggered. Now add to this the transit in Saturn, which is sitting at 20 Virgo, right on top of my grand cross. This is only one recent example of that. I honestly believe if I had 3 of those indicators, if that progressed moon had been sitting on top of the rest of that stuff and giving a 3rd confirmation, I don't think I would have survived. The fact there were 2 indicators, not 3, may have been a lifesaver for me. Because I've seen how deadly 3 are. Okay? Okay. Yeah, you find 3 main indicators of an event. The progressed moon, the new moon, preceding the time you looked into the transit Saturn. It's when 2 or 3 of the indicators align and you pay close attention. Okay, now let's, I talked about 28 cycles, 28 years. I want you to think about something. It takes 28 years for that moon and Saturn to go through a chart. What are the odds it would be at any significant place at any one time? In 28 years, the odds are not good that you're going to be able to line those planets up in a significant place. I'll show you what I mean. Okay. We talked about this similar to a slot machine. Okay. Bin Laden. I thought it'd be interesting to do 9/11 just to see what is going on. And this is his chart for 9/11. I'm going to show you. And we should be able to see something in his chart. He put this all together. It's calculated for 9/11/2001, the Trade Center attack.
Should do George Bush's.
Yeah, actually, that was a good idea. You know that? Look at this. Okay, let's go through it one at a time. Now we got the moon is the new moon is sitting right on top of Pluto in his chart exactly. Pluto, which rules death and destruction.
How'd you get his time of birth?
Oh, it's a lot of people have it. You can get on a computer and find it.
Huh.
Okay, yeah. So then we want to find transit Saturn's at 13 degrees Gemini, and then the progress moon is at 24 Aquarius. 24 Aquarius is exactly opposing in his chart his Pluto. So you got the new moon sitting on Pluto here. You got the progress moon opposing Pluto right here, which is the most destructive planet that can be. It's death and annihilation. It's rebirth as well. It can represent both. It's kind of interesting how the Trade Center's been reborn again. We've had to rebuild it, but that comes out of a Pluto energy. So let's look at these individually. The first rule. Now I'm going to take you through each of these charts with the rules. First rule. Okay, find the new moon preceding the event. Look at the outer circle. Note here it's at 26 degrees Leo. This sets it right on top of Pluto in his natal chart, which sets it in perfect square to Mars at 25 degrees stars. Just what you would expect to describe the utter depth and devastation brought about at the time. Remember, it was not only was it conjunct Pluto, the new moon, okay, here's the new moon. Conjunct is natal Pluto. Remember, the inner chart is your chart, or the person's chart, okay? And it's at 26 Leo, and look where his, let me go back to, look where his Mars is, 25 Taurus. Only 2 degrees from being exact square. From Pluto, or 3 degrees. So Pluto's 28, this is 25. These are fixed signs, Leo and Taurus. And they're very destructive, okay? Mars is in Taurus. You know that's a detriment of Mars. It's a bad position. It rules Scorpio. So if it's in a sign opposite itself, it does much more damage. It can be much more evil. And in this case, it's exact square. And it's, notice too, his Mars sits right on the 12th cusp, the 12th house. 12th house is things that come from behind that you don't see. The ability to attack from behind, to do things that others don't see coming. That's what Mars does there. So it shows his destructive power there. Okay, let's go back again. So we got Pluto and Mars, the two most destructive planets happening at the time being triggered. Now we search for the progressed moon in the inner circle. You'll find it's 24 degrees of Aquarius. Now it's forming a perfect T-cross opposing its Pluto at 28 degrees and in perfect square to natal Mars. What's the odds now? What are the odds? Let's go back to this. You tell me, what are the odds that you could line up? This takes 28 years to get here, to go around. It's been around more than once. If he's 56, it's gone around. You know what I'm saying? It's gone around twice, right? That planet. So that progressed moonlighting. So if it's 24, it means it's exactly sitting on that square, within a degree of being exact square to Mars and opposing Pluto. What are the odds you could put that there, just that one factor alone in that chart, at that moment of time? Now, just that alone, okay? Now, take the new moon. It's falling exactly on top of Pluto on the same cross, with that Mars square to Pluto. These here, how can they be put there exactly at that time? The odds are astronomical. This is a 28-day cycle, so you know it can happen more often. But those move; they don't stay at this degree. 27 or 28. This is 26 degrees. Every month they fall backwards roughly a degree. Every month of the new moon. So it might be at 1 degree of a sign. It might be at 2 or 3 or 4. It could be anywhere. the fact that it fell exactly there at that time. This took 28 years to get to this exact position, to make that square, set off that T-cross. Took 28 years for it to get there. Let's look at the rest of it. Progressed moon, 24 Aquarius. We talked about that. Find a transit Saturn in the outer circle. This makes a perfect opposition to his natal sun, or natal Saturn rather, at 14 degrees of Sagittarius and squaring his sun, Venus, Mercury in his natal chart. So we see, we got most malefic planets you can have. You got Pluto, Mars, and Saturn. How many times have I taught you that? The most dangerous planets of all. As a woman, I've said always look out for guys that have those crosses with Saturn and Mars and Venus. Pluto can be death. Saturn is controlling, right? You know, somebody says, I love you till we die. Yeah, you know, you be careful with that kind of stuff. You know, so, you know, words have power. Be aware, you know. I remember Delton, a friend of ours, and he's passed away, but he was very abusive to his woman. And he used to, he basically would threaten her by saying things like that. And he was capable, I'm sure, of hurting her. She had to escape from him. She left him, but